Hey everyone, I'm Cornshaq, and this is my top 10 worst / most disappointing games of 2014. Can't talk about the good without also talking about the bad. And the key to this list, like I said, remember, it's not just bad games, it's also most disappointing, and that's going to come into play quite a lot. Because yeah, there's a ton of really bad games each and every year, and lots of games that you know are going to be bad going into them. However, when a game that you're looking forward to ends up being bad, that's so far worse, in my opinion, than a game, well, that you had no expectations prior to. Well, with that, let's get into the list and my top 10 worst / most disappointing games of 2014. Number 10. Number 10 on my list is Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, and I can already see some comments being written down below. First and foremost, Metal Gear Ground Zeroes is a fantastic experience. And that's what it is, it's an experience. A very brief experience. I mean, you just from that opening cutscene, the rain effects, the whole thing is putting you right into that mood. You're like, I can't wait to dive into this game. And then as soon as you dove in, boom, you're hitting the bottom. And the game's already over. It consists of one main mission for the core story, and once you've completed that, yes, there are a few other side missions. All in all, it only took about 2.5 hours for me to complete everything, the main story and its side missions. And yes, just like any game, you can replay it over and over again if you want to technically unlock some things and get better ranks. But that really shouldn't add to the core length, and I never like talking about the length of a game. I can't stand seeing on message boards the first thing I see about a new game coming out. How long is it? But with this game, it was such a factor. I knew it was going to be short going in. I just didn't expect it to be quite this short. And with how much and how desperately I want to play Phantom Pain, this was just like giving me like a drug and then cutting me off and never letting me experience again for a very long time. I can't wait for Phantom Pain. It has me even more hyped, and trust me, if I had another really bad game to throw on this list that I played in 2014, this game wouldn't have even made the cut. But anyway, because of that, it ends up being my number 10 spot on this list. Number 9. Number 9 on this list is Hello Kitty Cruisers for the Nintendo Wii U, and I can already hear people saying, what, this was a game? Well, if you follow my channel, you got to see me play it, unfortunately. But anyway, Hello Kitty Cruisers for Wii U was a port of an iOS game. That should pretty much tell you right then and there this was going to be bad. And I almost don't even want to put this game on this list because it knows it's bad. The problem with this one, though, is it made me think it could have potentially been a kind of budget Diddy Kong racing. It says it has an adventure mode, just like Diddy Kong, and oh my god, adventure mode is a joke. Basically, you compete in one of 4 different styles of the tracks, collecting like either apples or certain types of other things added to the races to make them a little bit of a challenge, but there's no adventure, there's no like hub world or story or anything like that featuring the Hello Kitty characters. And yeah, I wasn't expecting anything amazing, but literally it's just you select what mission you want to do and then you do it. It's a challenge mode, not an adventure mode. And it also features cars, boats, and planes, just like Diddy Kong. And yes, it does feature the cute characters of the Hello Kitty universe, so if you're a fan of that, maybe you'll want to check it out. But the racing is unbelievably stiff, the items really add nothing to the mix, and the tracks are completely uninspired. I mean, horrible designs, and there's really only 4 or 5 designs total, and then they just change the track up and still keep the same background, like a town setting, or a snow setting, or the water setting, or the space setting, which they like to use that one quite a bit. Overall, obviously, the kart racer you're going to get is Mario Kart 8. Why would you get any other kart racer? The fact that this even exists on the same system as Mario Kart 8 is pathetic. Stay away from Hello Kitty Cruisers, but I have a feeling you were already going to do that. Number 8. Oh boy. Assassin's Creed Unity. What can I say that hasn't already been said? Okay. Well, from my experience, I played this on the PlayStation 4 on launch day. So you played it on the One or you played it on PC, you had a completely different experience. Every console had some unique problems, all three of them had certain problems that connected all together. It's a mess of a game that has been torn apart by everybody else. So I just want to talk personal experience with this game. I played it on launch, I played the opening story single player till I unlocked multiplayer, and once we jumped into multiplayer, yes, we ran into occasional problems, some weird glitches. I had problems where I died on the ground and was permanently dead until either I got kicked out of the group or the mission completed. I had unbelievably horrible frame rate drops during multiplayer sessions when I was hosting. Now, I know most of this stuff's been fixed by now. So what I really want to talk about is stuff they really can't fix. And that is the core gameplay here. After playing Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag and being probably my favorite Assassin's Creed game of all of them, I really, really, really wanted Unity to be the next amazing title. I was really revved up for it. I was never a huge fan of Assassin's Creed, and I started to get more into it, after 2, but then 3, and then, but 4, man. 4 really brought me into Assassin's Creed, and I loved every second of it. Now, I knew maybe it couldn't live up to that quite hype, but here's the problem, is I feel like for such a good core historical area with the French Revolution, I feel like the story fell flat. I'm really not a big fan of the main character. I never really fell in love with him, or even really the side characters here, and I felt like there could have been more done with the whole storyline. I feel like it was rushed. Most of the chapters were really, really short, and I know that kind of commonly happens, but they felt even shorter than usual. That could just be me, though, experiencing that. Also, with the multiplayer, for as much as it was hyped, it was very limited as far as the amount of missions. I'm sure they may add some more, and they are with DLC and stuff like that, but there was only a handful, and they were kind of basic for what they were. The heists are fun when they worked, I will say that. They are fun when they worked. Also, though, it was the combat. They dulled the combat completely. They took away the whistling. Just the stealth kills just didn't feel the same. It was very, very finicky as far as jumping on and off of ledges, going through windows. The game just was very temperamental, and it just took me out constantly by the game screwing up, took me out of the experience, and made me enjoy it less. So I put it on this list not because of all the glitches and all that, but for taking out the core elements that made Assassin's Creed Black Flag so amazing. Not having that same kind of love and feel go into this one is why it makes the 8th spot on my 2014 worst games list. Number 7. Number 7 on my list is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, I played this on the PlayStation 4, but it's available on many other home systems. Look, I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and I don't like the movies that Sony has been putting out. And yes, I really do hope Marvel can finally get the rights back to Spider-Man, either to create its own set of movies, or at least to include Spider-Man in the Marvel Universe movies. I'm not a big fan of superhero movies usually anyway, with a very, very few exceptions. However, I can't wait for that to happen. Please let that happen. Okay, now let's talk about the game. This is a game I actually almost don't even want to put on this list, because I actually kind of like it. Maybe I'm a glutton for punishment. Actually, in fact, I am. I actually really do like bad games. And I'm a big Spider-Man fan. And I've played and beaten just about every Spider-Man game that you can possibly name. Maybe a few computer-only ones from the past that I never heard of. But I love Spider-Man, I like playing Spider-Man games, and even with this one, has a ton of flaws. The web slinging feels like it could be really cool, and then it gets extremely glitchy, trying to get up things really quickly. The combat, yes, is mundane of just a very simple beat-em-up, and once you get farther into it with some of the upgrades, it becomes really pathetically easy at times, and the boss fights are really a joke, with only a couple being a real challenge, and the other ones just involving a few counters here and there, and you take down the boss no matter what. I think the fact that this game includes the other villains not included in the movie, and does them, I think, well, is a big plus to this game, and why I kinda do like it. However, all the side missions in the open world area of New York, they end up being the same mission over and over and over again with the exact same cutscenes and the exact same outcome, and you have to watch these unbelievably annoying news segments after each and every one of these side missions. Yes, you can skip it, but you have to wait for it to load, and there's a lot of loading in this game. I wanted to love Amazing Spider-Man 2, heck, I wanted to really like it, and part of me kinda still does, but at its core, no, it's just a mediocre licensed game based on a film, and it does deserve to be on the worst list of 2014. Number 6. Number 6 on my list is Watch Dogs, and this is another one of those games that makes it for disappointment factor alone. I'm a huge sandbox and open world game fan. I've been lately loving and playing Far Cry 4, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition. And if you didn't check out any of those games, you should check those out. A couple of them have made my top 10 and 20 games list of the last couple of years. Watch Dogs, however, was a game that I was immediately hyped for from its first E3 trailer, and once I finally got the chance to play it, it just fell flat. Yeah, there's a lot to do in the game, but I find a lot of what there is to do in the game honestly quite boring, especially the hacking the people's phone lines for, I guess, what are supposed to be funny a lot of times scenes, I think just completely fall flat. And the extent you have to go through to sometimes get these is pretty enormous, and you get really nothing out of it. There are some cool things in here, especially using the hacking of the streetlights and all that in order to stop police cars and other vehicles. And there is some fun with all the hacking and all that. The cool thing of seeing every single character you pass by, getting a little blurb of information about them, of course randomly generated, but it adds like the full living city feel. Where the game really lacks, though, is in story. Story is a big thing for me, especially characters, and the main character I think completely falls flat. I may be in the, minority with this one, but I couldn't stand the main character. Some of the side characters, a lot of the side characters, I thought were really cool, and I wish actually sometimes there was a lot more to do with them, or heck, you even just played as them and didn't even include this guy at all into the mix. Like all sandbox games, yes, there is a lot to do, but I think for what I was really hyping the game to be as this next huge, big sandbox game, and it honestly just falls into the factor of a mediocre sandbox game with a mediocre story, it ends up just being a disappointing game, and one that I was really looking forward to, and was kind of like, afterwards, I was like, oh, that was it? Okay, look, I'm good, I'm done. Let me eject that. I'm probably never playing that again. Number 5. Okay, let me start off number 5 by saying I never trade games in. I never get rid of games. I'm a game collector. You can probably tell that. WWE2K15 was the first game I have traded in a couple of years. Heck, the last game I traded in was Tomb Raider for PS3, and it's because it erased my save. I had a grudge with it. Ended up rebuying it. But, still, WWE2K15 was one of the most disappointing games I have bought in a very long time. I'm a huge wrestling fan, but I'm also a huge wrestling game fan. I love to create my own universe, my own characters, have them fight it out in simulated matches. I like to put that kind of on in the background sometimes while I'm editing videos and doing other things. It's something I've been doing as a hobby since high school. I've just always done that, and this game doesn't allow me to do that at all. They have completely destroyed the Creator-Wrestler system in there. Yes, I get it. It's a brand new console. We gotta update the engine, we gotta change some things here. But there's nothing there. They extremely limit the amount of wrestlers you're even able to create, from 100 now to 25 on the PS4 version, but honestly, it should be increased. The create a wrestler, the create an entrance, there's nothing there. I mean, it's nothing. For those who have played it and seen it, there is literally, nothing for you to select. They've added one really cool thing, and that is the fact that you're able to scan faces and now put them into the game, and this potentially leads to a lot of really cool created wrestlers. And finally being able to get, those guys who aren't in the game, you'll be able to get them in there. But with such other limitations to everything else, it makes it almost impossible to fully create these guys in a lot of ways. You can't even add custom music. I get that this may be an issue with the Xbox One and PS4 not allowing custom music. I can get that. Hopefully that's something that's worked on. I heard they're working on with PS4. They may have already done. But still, that extremely limits the enjoyment factor and the immersion that you can possibly do. Talk about the other gameplay modes. The WWE Universe mode, which I was never really a huge fan, that's completely gone. They have a actual career mode now, which after playing it for 5-6 hours straight, I just ended up doing the same things over and over again. Yeah, I get it. It's actually kind of funny because it kind of happens to actual real wrestlers, where you'll get certain wrestlers that'll be on the thing, like, oh, sorry, man, we have nothing for you today. Maybe next week you'll actually be able to be on the show. And when you finally are, you're fighting some loser, or you're getting jobbed out, aka you're losing to some other bigger name. So it kind of is realistic in that sense, but playing that aspect of playing one match and then being, yep, there's no more matches for you on TV for another month, and it just fast forwards through the months really quickly, got really boring really fast. The very limited amount of cutscenes that I saw throughout that actually started happening storyline-wise just were inconsistent. They weren't that entertaining. I think it's a good core. This game needed another 6 months, and honestly, it shouldn't exist. They should have just waited until next year and released a full, awesome, amazing PS4 version of the game, and just had focused on the last gen for this year, and not worried about the PS4, Xbox One gen. 2K, you screwed this one up. Hopefully next year is a lot better, but 2K15 is one of the absolute worst wrestling games I have played in a long time. It's just, do not get it. Do not get it. The other mode, the showcase mode, kind of entertaining, but extremely limited, and the only way this game gets any better for that mode is DLC. Unless you're a fan of DLC, stay away. Stay away. Number 4. Okay, now we're getting into the bottom 4. Duck Dynasty for the PlayStation 4. Yeah, what you're looking at right now, the footage I'm showing, is, yes, PlayStation 4. I knew this game was going to be terrible going into it. It's one of those. And yes, I'm a glutton for punishment who likes bad games. Remember, Ride to Hell was actually on my top 20 good games last year. I love a bad game that's so bad it's good. The problem with Duck Dynasty, and the reason why it ends up making this list, is it's way too freaking long and just not enough content. The game consists of only a handful of, I wouldn't say necessarily mini-games, but styles of missions. Whether it's the racing, or the shooting, or God forbid, the stealth Metal Gear style missions that are in this game. Of course, the highlight of the entire game is playing as a leaf pile, trying not to get pissed on by a dog, but besides that, the fishing, hunting, and boat racing gets monotonous and boring very, very quickly. The boat racing especially is very inconsistent and can get really frustrating while you're trying to actually win these races. If Duck Dynasty was about half its length and just a tiny bit more effort, it probably wouldn't end up making this list and would have just been one of those really funny games that you could just sit back and be like, wow, that was actually made, and just get a good, hearty laugh out of it. The problem is, like I said, it ends up going on way too freaking long. But I'm sure, I guess that's also going to be the same factor with the lifespan of the television show, so I guess it all goes hand in hand. Number 3. Number 3 on this list is Rambo. Now, I played this on the PlayStation 3. It's available on other consoles if you really want to give it a try. I dare you. No, please, actually don't. Please, I don't want to get, like, angry letters from people who played this. But seriously, Rambo is a very, very poor rail shooter. Now, you know rail shooters, and they can be a lot of fun. Time Crisis or House of the Dead, for example, are great games. Well, at least to me, they're great games. But Rambo, on the other hand, falls flat on every level. Yeah, it is multiplayer, which, if you want to drag a friend into this one, you can. Whereas one of you plays as Rambo, and I guess the other one plays sometimes as just, well, either no one or Rambo's other arm. I have really no idea. But either way, the graphics are just laughable, and that is probably the most enjoyable thing. They ripped sound directly from the film, and you can tell they're exact sound clips from the film, which could kind of be good, and other games have done this similar thing. I think some of the Lego games, and they actually are done pretty well. But Rambo, no. They get this. It's just the audio levels are all over the place. It can be hard to understand. There's no good here. It's monotonous as any other rail shooter, but with no substance whatsoever. It tells the story of the first 3 Rambo films. It doesn't include the more modern Rambo movie that came out a handful of years back now. And it just, wow. you sit there and this is one of those games where you're midway through and you're just like, I can't believe I'm playing this game. And let me just say, rant-wise, on the last level, the spike in difficulty on the final stage alone is huge. I mean, the game is a breeze on the normal difficulty all the way up into the final 2 levels. I was able to get through the second to last level pretty good, but then that final level kicked the crap out of me. I'm pretty good at games. Am I amazing? I don't know. That can be up to someone's own opinion. But with this game in particular, that final level kicked the crap out of me and was so annoying over and over again having to do certain parts. I just almost controller throwing worthy is how bad the spike in difficulty, and it just avoid at all costs. Avoid Rambo. Number 2. Number 2. Sonic Boom. I've said multiple times, I like bad games. I can enjoy a bad game for the sake of a bad game, but then there's bad, and then there's Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom goes to a different level here. I knew it was going to be horrible going into it, but I wanted to give it a fair shake. I want to say, come on, it can't be that bad, right? Yeah, it's that bad. And there's a lot of people, I'm sure, out there defending this game, as there always is with Sonic games. The thing about Sonic games is, like, people can't admit when they're bad. No matter how bad a Sonic game is, there's always people out there defending it. It says, nah, you're just playing it wrong, or no, it's actually a really great game, and all this. At its core, Sonic Boom is a terrible license, because it's not just Sonic, it's a licensed game based on the Sonic Boom cartoon that's currently now airing, which is also in itself awful. I do not recommend it. I mean, is it the worst cartoon ever? But there's a lot of high-quality cartoons, in my opinion, currently on Cartoon Network, and I'm not sure about Nickelodeon, but mainly Cartoon Network. This one isn't even on any of their levels. This doesn't even go up there with Adventure Time, regular show, Steven Universe, or even Clarence. Sonic Boom's way down, the cartoon's way down, and the game is even farther down. It's monotonous beat-em-up style with multiple different characters, and yes, you can play it 2-player, but of course one person's stuck on the Wii U-pad, and it destroys the graphics that you end up seeing on the television, so really it isn't worth doing. The game isn't really that great to look at anyway, and then when you do that, it's even worse. The characters do not shut up, and people have always made fun of me that I talk too much, and I don't shut up. These characters talk more than I ever have in any video ever. They never shut up the entire length of the game, and they point out every single object and ring you see the entire time. Yes, and there are the glitches, and there's a lot of them. I'm showing probably some of that while I'm talking about it now. I'll be honest, the way to have fun with this game is to glitch it, and to glitch it intentionally, to do what the game wasn't meant to do. You may actually end up having a little bit of fun with it, but playing it the way it was meant to be played, you might as well just play any other Sonic game. I really think almost every other Sonic game. I don't know if I can recommend Ever 06, but I don't know. Maybe it's on that level. Sonic Boom. I'm sorry, Sonic fans. It sucks. And I mean, it really, really sucks. Number 1. Okay, the number 1 spot on this list. The Evil Within. This is going to be my longest game I talk about. I need to do a little bit of a rant on here for Evil Within. And I already know people are commenting down below, how can you say this game is bad or anything like that? Is this game horrible to play? No, it's not. But it's very disappointing to me. And this is my personal worst and most disappointing game, so that's why it ends up being here. Okay? Now, for more detail on that. Evil Within was easily by far my most anticipated game of 2014. I could not wait to get my hands on this game. From the moment it was announced, I immediately pre-ordered this game, and I waited every day for it to finally get launched. Yeah, you can say I overhyped myself, and sometimes no matter how much you hype yourself up for a game, that's just going to lead to disappointment. I get that, but sometimes a game is so needed, and you can't help but do that. I love horror games, and horror games have been so down lately. The only way to find really great horror stuff pretty much has been in the independent scene with games like Outlast, and even more recently something like Five Nights at Freddy's, doing different things with the horror genre. And there's a lot of great independent horror games, a lot of bad ones. There's a lot of great ones out there. Without them, though, there'd be no horror games whatsoever, as the Resident Evil franchise is not horror anymore, and so heartbreaking with that. And Silent Hill, please let the new Silent Hill be amazing, because I need that so bad now, especially after this. But The Evil Within, I waited every moment for it. I didn't watch a whole lot of trailers. I didn't want to spoil myself on this game. I really didn't. So it finally comes out, and I play through this thing from start to finish in one go. This is how I enjoy my horror games. It's how I've always played them. From Silent Hills, Resident Evils, I love to sit down, fully immerse myself, and play through from start to finish a horror game. That's just how I do this. So I want it to be that kind of authentic feel. I wanted it to be the same kind of feel I felt with these old Resident Evils and the old Silent Hills. And it falls flat on every conceivable level. It starts off amazing. I will give it that, though. The first chapter, I was in love. From the very first chapter, I just was like, okay, I can't, this is unbelievable, this is awesome, I'm really feeling this. It's brutal. The chase scene at the very beginning of the game is just absolutely fantastic. I was loving every second of this, and then it just slowly but surely falls apart. If you watch the live stream, I'm sure you could pause at the exact moment somewhere during the stream, probably in chapters 10 to 13, exactly where all my hopes and dreams of this being a good horror game are completely dashed. The Evil Within simply borrows from almost every single horror game that has come out since Resident Evil 4, and I feel that it gets none of the things it borrows as good or better, with one exception. And that's the things it borrows from Alone in the Dark, that horrible-ass remake of Alone in the Dark that came out early in the 360's lifespan. Heck, I think it even was on PS2. Alone in the Dark, that terrible-ass game, had one of the worst driving sequences ever. If you've ever played it, you know what I'm talking about. And this game has a driving sequence. It's not quite as bad as that. It's not. But that's the only thing it does better, because it borrows pieces from, like, Deadly Premonition, obviously Resident Evil 4, the more modern Silent Hills, and not a horror game, but definitely feels like there's influence, is Last of Us in this, of all things. Just the survival elements and the combat, which, because of playing a game like Last of Us and loving it so much, and the combat in that of barely having any ammo and just running and being able to hit enemies, just felt so satisfying in that game. And in here, where it's literally the combat comes down to punch, run away, punch, run away, punch, for like 5 minutes. It takes so many hits to down the weakest enemies in the game. Yeah, I get it that it's supposed to be much more about stealth and survival, but you don't really even get any ammo anyway. You find these guns that just don't really necessarily are very fun to use, and you need to use guns. It's not like you can just beat the game without using them. You pretty much need the guns. You'll find full cases of ammo with 1 bullet, and you can only hold like 4 or 5 bullets, period, which I think, yeah, I get that you don't have many pockets, so guess realism here, but come on, you can hold more than 4 bullets of a handgun on you, okay? There are upgrades, I get that, there are upgrades, but the problem with it is, one of the things that's so annoying is his stamina. You run out of stamina so quickly in a horror game where you need to run from things. It's like, give me a break. You gotta give me one. You either gotta give me good melee, you gotta give me decent combat weaponry here, or you gotta give me a stamina system so at least I have a chance of running away from said creatures that are chasing my ass down. So I spend most of my points on the stamina meter, and I can't really do it all because you can only do so many upgrades, right? And then there comes to the melee combat. Like, it's just your fist. You have an instant kill knife on you at all times because you can backstab enemies and instantly kill them. But you can't use that to actually fight enemies. Now, there are a few things you can pick up, like, I think it was an axe, and a couple other things, a lantern. You can use those, but they're like one-time use, and then they're gone. Like, they instantly, I get the lantern breaking, but like, the axe, gone, smashed, destroyed, it's one use, worthless. And then there was the ammo glitch I experienced, which not a lot of people experience, so I can only throw this in because it's a personal experience of mine. Early on in the game, you fight a chainsaw guy. Yeah, sound familiar, right? Yeah, because it's exactly ripped out of Resident Evil 4. You fight a chainsaw guy. You have very limited ammo. I have the shotgun at that point, very limited though ammo in it. I'm fighting him, I'm shooting him, I'm running around, I'm escaping him, there's other enemies there too. I'm slowly taking this guy down. It's like, okay, this kind of feels like surviving in Resident Evil 4. I'm kind of liking part of this. You're in a village. It's, you know, it's a throwback, but it's kind of cool, right? Well, I die during the course of it. It reloads me, and I have none of the ammo I used during the fight. And I have no way to pick up more ammo because I picked it all up in the village already and started using it during the fight against this guy. Apparently what happened is, by killing certain enemies, it auto-saved me. Yes, I could have reloaded the entire chapter and replayed the entire chapter if I wanted to, but horrible auto-save at that point. And I already been stuck because I got stuck on trying to find a certain object that wanted me to locate just a little bit ago. So extremely frustrating. I know this has gone on way longer than the entire length of the rest of the video, but I'm sorry, Evil Within, just on every level, was disappointing. I could go on and on and on about this game. If you want to see my entire gameplay, it's available if you really want to watch it. In fact, I will link it down below, just because if you want to see my personal experience of what I played through when I played Evil Within. But anyway, guys, that's why this game is my most disappointing game of 2014. Shoo. So here you guys have it, my worst games of 2014. Let's hope 2015 doesn't even need a list, because all the games end up being a lot better. I apologize for Evil Within's rant going a little bit longer than I probably should have had it go, but I need to finally get that off my chest. But anyway, guys, Happy New Year, and here is to all the great games that we're going to get a chance to experience, and let's not even think about the potential bad. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.